So it was announced that on Tuesday that the Special Olympics was going to be defunded, and on Thursday it was announced that it wasn't. So the 18 million that was going to be defunded is now going back to the Special Olympics, which accounts for about 10% of the overall budget for the Special Olympics or what they make. And so here's kind of like a bigger problem with this is that you got an idea of what it's like kind of to be disabled. Like you're more like an afterthought. You're in the bottom of the totem pole. And so, fortunately, times have changed and people across the board spoke against it. If you spoke against it, we thank you. Thanks from it's come from the disabled community, and we thank you for help supporting us and speaking against us because this isn't right. There's one thing defunding somebody like me, like I got physical disabilities. That's fine, whatever. You're gonna defund me, it is what it is. But then you're defunding kids with mental disabilities, and this thing with the Olympics and the Paralympics, they're very special, and unique in that you can compete with somebody, with your own kind of disabilities, As disabled, you sometimes, you look at these NBA stars, these football stars, and all these people, and you wish you could do what they can do, but you simply can't. So when the Paralympics kind of came out and the Special Olympics came out, it was very nice, that you could be one of those people, but in your own way. And you're by no means, thinking that you're at that level as far as being an athlete and stuff like that, but you're never really expecting to be. You're trying to be the best that you could be amongst your own people, amongst disabled people. And so when you see these stories of these, kids with mental disabilities and physical disabilities, and they go to the Special Olympics and Paralympics, and you see their story and the things they overcome, and then how much the training that they can do, and you see them do these amazing things that they probably originally weren't supposed to do. It's very inspiring to see all this. It's part of the reason why I work out, to the best of my ability. And so to hear something like, it's being defunded, it's very heartbreaking. But fortunately for the Special Olympics, the majority of the money comes from private funding, just fundraising, all these things. And this is an overall problem that we as people with disabilities have to deal with. And that's funding from the government and just funding in general, where they're not, the programs that you belong to or you can get are not necessarily funded well enough. And the one thing lesson that we could learn from the Special Olympics is that we should probably rely more on fundraisers and private funding, for the different programs that we need, whether it be for spina bifida, cleft lip, whatever it may be, like the Smile organization, they get funded from around the world, and as a result, they're able to go around the world and help fix people with the cleft lip and the cleft palate. And so these are things that, as disabled people, those that have just physical disabilities and don't necessarily have the mental disabilities, and those that have mental disabilities that can actually help too as well, because it's kind of difficult, just depending on your situation, that we need to start going this route of not relying on the government. See, this is something that is kind of scary, like some of you felt this when Obama became president, the Obamacare kind of came in, where you were being funded for your medical supplies and all of a sudden you weren't. Like that happened to me. Had a doctor, and then Obamacare kind of came in, and I didn't have a doctor, So I had to kind of go a different route, finding another doctor that was willing to take me. And I also noticed a hit on my medicine, on my medical stuff. I took a hit, and it's because it was during the recession, all that was kind of going on. And so it's kind of like an ongoing problem on a private level, where the stuff that you need is you're not necessarily gonna get it because it's just a lack of funding. To overall, where like you can go to maybe a school for say the blind, autism or whatever it may be, and that program might just get cut. It just might get defunded, or even then it might get like less fundings, and it's just not a well run program. So this is an ongoing issue with people with disabilities, and the problem is that there's so many different disabilities. You don't really, how do you cover it all? I can only vouch for spina bifida, cleft lip, autism, certain things I can vouch for because I was there, I was with them, what kind of funding that they need, or just what kind of things that people with different disabilities kind of need. Some need the same things, some need different things. And overall, I would like to say we probably, as a whole, kind of have to focus on certain things. I can't really focus on all disabilities. I know there's some programs that, or some like nonprofit organizations that they focus on overall disabilities, which is kind of good. They help anybody with they have some that help people with rare diseases and people with just different things. And I think that's the route we more or less have to take as disabled people, whether it be mental or physical. If you're the parent of somebody that's has a mental disability or a family one, or maybe you're a friend, you're gonna have to help them as well as help. I mean, some people with physical disabilities as well. It goes across the board. To start some kind of program, some kind of business that's gonna help fund those particular people with those particular disabilities that you're close to, that you know about, because it's just there's so many. You can't represent them all, unfortunately. So maybe you have cancer, you're a cancer survivor. Or maybe you might start a business that kind of helps people with cancer. Your particular cancer that you have. I remember seeing a company, they would sell shirts, and their shirts went to people with rare and like typical disabilities, that were diseases or whatever the case may be, but that they were rare, and that you really couldn't get funding for it, or the funding for that particular thing was really expensive, whether to have a surgery or to send them to a certain doctor that really that doctor in particular could do it. That was pretty great. So I support them. I kind of followed them on Instagram, and I kind of kept up what they were doing, and all their shirts that they sold. Of course they had to make some money to keep the business running, but a certain amount went to all that, and then you got to see the patients that they helped. They only helped one patient at a time, but that's all that that it was really needed. That's all you don't have to do. That's all you have to do. Sometimes you can't really save them all. You can only help with those that are around you, and so that's kind of like the route I even want to take. Like I can't help everybody with cancer. I can't help everybody with autism. I can't help everybody with whatever you name it. But maybe I could help those with cleft lip. Maybe I could help with those spina bifida, with hydrocephalus. Maybe just a certain. Maybe I can't. You can only do so much as a person, but that doesn't mean you give up or you don't help. You just focus on what you have to do. And I just encourage all of you, to, even if it's just to fund yourself. I mean, sometimes that's all you can do. That's kind of the first part where you need to start off. Get the money to so that you can have the medicine that you need. So maybe you have to get certain types of jobs, or online jobs or whatever the case may be. But overall, let this be a lesson, not to rely on these programs. Because look at just 1 minute Special Olympics was funded, next minute they weren't. So we can't really rely on these programs. Unfortunately, even, it doesn't really matter. So what we gotta do is rely on our own funding. We gotta do private funding, fundraising to support our own people. Because if we don't do it, who else will, Because you already know you're an afterthought sometimes in society. So that's all my thoughts on, the topic. And I'm glad, that it got overturned and that these programs are going to be funded still. So you have all these schools, I think it was for the blind, and I think might have been for autism, and just several programs, they will continue to be funded. Thanks for watching this video. If this affected you personally, let me know how you felt during the process, and just tell me your overall thoughts. Bye.